I discovered a legendary ship at auction, and it's scheduled for destruction. The auction hall was unlike anything the human had ever seen. High above, the ceiling shimmered with artificial stars, reflecting off the polished floors. Rows of ships gleamed under white light, each designed by a different species across the galaxy. Sleek curves, impossible angles, and technologies that hummed softly like living creatures filled the room. Humans were rare here, their ships often dismissed as outdated or unsophisticated, yet something drew him to the far corner of the hall. There, tucked behind a display of glimmering alien fighters, was a vessel that made his heart skip a beat. It was smaller than most of the ships around it, but its lines were clean and elegant in a way only human design could be. The metal glowed softly with a subtle golden hue. Its nameplate was scratched and worn, but he could read it. The Odyssey. Whispers floated through the hall. Other bidders noticed too. That ship, isn't it the one? An alien voice murmured. Another shook its long, slender head. Thought it was destroyed decades ago. The human's pulse quickened. The Odyssey was a legend in human history. Stories of its adventures had passed through secret channels for years. It was said to have survived impossible missions, explored uncharted sectors, and returned when other human ships never had the chance. Most believed it was gone forever, broken apart or abandoned during an early interstellar conflict. And now here it was, sitting quietly at an auction, as if waiting for someone who could appreciate it. He moved closer, careful not to touch. The auctioneer, a round, blue-skinned creature with 3 eyes, noticed him lingering. The human, it said, its voice buzzing in the hall's speakers. Curious, are we? That ship you see before you is special. The human nodded slowly.
It's scheduled for destruction?
He asked. The auctioneer's eyes flickered. Indeed. Intergalactic regulations are strict. Ships older than 50 standard cycles must either be recycled or destroyed. The Odyssey is considered too influential for modern fleets. A relic of human design, it carries ideas too unpredictable, too dangerous. It cannot remain dangerous. The word made the human stomach tighten. It wasn't dangerous in a violent way, at least, not in the way aliens feared, but in a way only humans understood. The Odyssey's design was clever, adaptive, and yes, occasionally chaotic by alien standards. Humans had survived because they thought differently. They improvised. They took risks. They trusted intuition. Other species never understood that, and so they feared it. The auctioneer continued, gesturing for the crowd's attention. Bidding will begin in 1 standard hour. The fate of the Odyssey rests in the hands of its highest bidder. Humans were almost invisible here, treated as curiosities. He realized immediately that if he wanted the ship, he would have to act carefully. Drawing attention could provoke the auctioneer, or worse, other bidders. But the thought of letting humanity's legacy be destroyed, erased from history, was unbearable. He made his decision. He would not let the Odyssey die. As he stepped closer, he noticed something else. The ship wasn't just a static relic. Soft lights pulsed along its hull, as if the ship was alive. Panels shifted slightly, opening tiny vents, adjusting for the hull's gravity fields. He reached out, just brushing a finger along the cool metal, and felt a faint vibration. It was faint, almost imperceptible, but it carried a rhythm, the heartbeat of a machine built by humans. How is it? He whispered to himself. He wasn't alone. A group of alien bidders, sleek and angular, eyed him from across the hall. Their expressions were impossible to read, but their energy carried curiosity and perhaps amusement. Humans were predictable, they assumed. And yet, here was one, daring to linger near a legendary artifact. He backed away quietly and found a terminal nearby, a touchscreen floating in midair. With careful fingers, he accessed the auction's registry. The Odyssey, he typed. Immediately, a stream of information appeared. Owner, unknown origin, Earth. 124 standard years ago, previous missions. Classified. Rumored exploration beyond mapped galaxies. Status. Functional. Partial systems. Special note. AI-assisted navigation system. Experimental energy core. Adaptive defense protocols. The last note caught his attention. Adaptive defense protocols. He didn't know exactly what that meant yet, but he knew one thing. The Odyssey was built to survive. It was more than a ship. It was a repository of human knowledge, ingenuity, and daring spirit. Time passed faster than he realized. The auctioneer called for final registration, and bidders began to enter the hall. Humans were rare here, and he felt the weight of the eyes on him. He wasn't a professional bidder, just a human who refused to let history be lost. But he had a plan, and that plan would require both luck and brains. He circled the ship once more. The Odyssey's AI interface flickered faintly. A soft, almost musical tone emitted from the console near the cockpit. It was as if the ship recognized him, or at least acknowledged his presence. He felt a strange connection. The ship wasn't just metal and circuits. It carried the human essence, the spark of creativity and survival. Suddenly, the auctioneer's voice boomed. "Ladies, gentlemen, and distinguished species of the galaxy, the Odyssey is about to begin bidding." Let the final hour commence. Bidders surged forward. The human felt out of place, dwarfed by alien competitors. They tapped on consoles, sent signals, and negotiated in languages he barely understood. The prices climbed quickly, not just in credits but in strange barter items, rare crystals, technology modules, and exotic energy cores. He took a deep breath. Fighting in this hall would not work. He needed strategy, not strength. Humans were not strongest, but they were clever, adaptable, and persistent. Those qualities would have to be enough. The human noticed a small access panel slightly open on the side of the ship. Without touching, he saw a faint readout. Partial systems were online. The AI might still function. That could be his advantage. If he could awaken the ship, just enough to show it was more than a relic, he could prove its value, not as a collectible, but as a working piece of human genius. The auctioneer's voice cut through his thoughts again. 10 seconds until live bidding begins. He crouched slightly, thinking fast. Showing the Odyssey's capability subtly, enough to draw attention without angering the authorities, could change the outcome. The AI system hummed under his hand, and he whispered softly, a human habit from long ago. "Let's show them what humans can do."
A faint glow emanated from the ship's hull. Energy flowed through circuits that had been dormant for decades.
Lights blinked rhythmically. A holographic map projected from the cockpit, showing star systems and unexplored sectors. Aliens paused, confused. One whispered to another, "It's working."
How?
The human smiled inwardly. Humans were underestimated. Always. And yet, here he was, about to prove that human ingenuity could not be ignored. The auctioneer's countdown reached 0. Bidding began, but the attention was no longer on price. It was on the ship itself. And then, almost imperceptibly, a soft alarm sounded inside the human's mind. The authorities had noticed. Somewhere beyond the auction hall, alien inspectors were mobilizing. They would not allow the Odyssey to remain unchecked. The human clenched his fists. He could not allow this ship to be destroyed. Not now. Not ever. The auction hall erupted in sound as bidding numbers flew, but he focused on the Odyssey. The legendary ship, silent witness to humanity's past brilliance, awaited its chance to live again, and he had just decided that he would make sure it survived. The first step of the plan had begun, but the real challenge was yet to come. The human's pulse raced as he glanced around the auction hall. Alien bidders tapped their consoles furiously, their long fingers glinting under the hall's bright lights. The Odyssey hummed softly beneath him, alive with energy. It was almost as if the ship itself knew that its chance to shine had arrived. He crouched near the cockpit, examining the access panel that had been slightly open. With careful hands, he adjusted a few settings, rerouted power through the primary core, and whispered to himself, "Come on, just enough to wake you up." A soft glow spread across the hull, and a faint hum filled the air. The ship's systems were responding. Lights on the control panel blinked rhythmically, and a holographic display projected itself in front of the cockpit. Stars, systems, and star lanes appeared, as if the Odyssey were mapping the galaxy in real time. A few nearby aliens noticed, their antennae twitching. It's operational, one hissed to another. Impossible. Human ships are primitive. They cannot survive for so long without maintenance. The humans smiled slightly. That was exactly the reaction he wanted. Humans were underestimated. Always underestimated. But ingenuity, adaptability, and intuition had never failed them. And now the Odyssey was about to prove why. He leaned closer to the holographic console. Small readouts flickered across the display. Navigation systems, energy core, adaptive shields. They were all functioning, though not at full capacity. If he could bring them online gradually, the ship would be ready to move, to escape, and to show the galaxy that humans had never been primitive. Suddenly, an alarm sounded in the auction hall. The human froze. It was not inside the Odyssey. It was a message broadcast through the auction network. Unauthorized activation detected. Security units are en route. Alien inspectors were already mobilizing. They moved faster than he expected, their sleek ships slipping through portals toward the auction hall. Within minutes, they would arrive to seize the Odyssey, or destroy it if necessary. He didn't panic. Humans had survived impossible odds before, often outnumbered and underestimated. He would rely on the ship and on his own wits. He pressed a sequence on the console, opening a small hatch that revealed the Odyssey's energy core. The core pulsed softly, drawing energy from the surrounding hall, almost like it was drinking life from the lights and power lines nearby. It was beautiful to watch, an elegant human design built to adapt and endure. The human thought about the stories he had heard as a child. Stories of the Odyssey navigating asteroid storms, outsmarting pirate fleets, and returning from missions no other human ship could survive. Now he was seeing that same brilliance firsthand. The ship was more than metal and circuits. It was a living testament to humanity's creativity and resilience. Footsteps echoed in the hall. The inspectors had arrived. 3 alien officers stepped through the wide doors, their uniforms gleaming and their eyes locked on the human. Their voices were cold. "Human," one said, his tone sharp. "Step away from the ship immediately. The Odyssey is scheduled for destruction. You have no authority here." The human straightened. "Authority? Maybe not, but I do have an understanding. This ship is more than a relic. It's human ingenuity. And it deserves a chance to live." The inspectors exchanged glances. One of them hissed, "Humans are unpredictable. You think your cleverness matters?" "I don't think," the human said firmly. "I know." He tapped another sequence on the console. A soft hum spread through the hall, and the ship's shields activated. Not a violent weapon, but a shimmering protective field that gently repelled nearby objects. Lights, displays, even energy beams from alien devices bounced harmlessly away. The inspector stepped back, startled. They hadn't expected the ship to be functional, and certainly not to defend itself without harming anyone. The human grinned. "See, humans think differently." The inspectors called for reinforcements, their antennas twitching in agitation. The hall began to fill with alien agents, their devices scanning for threats. The human didn't panic. He had a plan. Mobility. The Odyssey could move faster than any of them anticipated. He climbed into the cockpit. The controls responded instantly. The holographic map expanded, showing multiple exit points. The human could navigate the ship out of the hall using secret pathways, old human-designed systems that aliens hadn't expected. "Time to wake up properly," he murmured. He activated the engines slowly. The ship lifted slightly off the ground, hovering with quiet power. The crowd gasped. Aliens scrambled to adjust their scanners. Some murmured in disbelief. The human guided the Odyssey to a small docking bay at the edge of the hall, using its AI-assisted navigation to avoid collision. The ship moved with grace, as if it had anticipated this moment for decades. The inspectors tried to intercept, but the Odyssey's adaptive systems created small, subtle diversions. opening temporary fields, creating holographic duplicates, and rerouting power to enhance speed. None of it harmed anyone, yet it kept the inspectors off balance. Once clear of the main hall, the human engaged the ship fully. The engines roared softly, propelling the Odyssey toward the nearest exit port. Alien guards attempted to block the way, but the ship's systems found openings, exploiting weaknesses that only a human-designed machine could detect. As the ship passed through the portal, the human noticed something incredible. The Odyssey's AI interface lit up. A voice, soft, calm, human-like, spoke in a tone that seemed almost familiar. "Welcome back. Systems functional at 59%. Human operator detected. Initiating adaptive protocols." The human blinked. "You remember humans?" "In a sense," the AI replied. "Our designs, our logic, our creativity. You are the key to our full activation." He nodded. This was more than a ship. The Odyssey's AI contained decades of human tactical and engineering wisdom. With his guidance, it could reach full capacity and show the galaxy why humans had never been weak. Outside, the stars stretched endlessly. The Odyssey moved with effortless speed, leaving the auction hall behind. The alien inspectors transmitted alerts back to the authorities, but the human had a head start. He smiled. Humans were unpredictable, yes, but that was their strength. As the Odyssey navigated through uncharted space lanes, the human explored the ship's systems. Shields, navigation, power distribution, communications, and adaptive defense. Everything was designed to respond, adjust, and survive. The aliens had destroyed many human ships over the decades because they underestimated this adaptability. Now, he had one of the greatest vessels in history under his control. A soft chime alerted him to incoming messages. The alien auctioneer's voice echoed across the communications network. "Return the Odyssey immediately! You are violating intergalactic regulations!" He ignored it. Instead, he activated the ship's long-range communication system, sending a broadcast to nearby human colonies. A message of survival, of ingenuity, of hope. "Humans," the transmission began, "one of our greatest ships has been rediscovered. It is alive. We will not let it be destroyed." Within minutes, responses arrived. Humans from distant colonies sent coordinates, warnings, and offers of assistance. The galaxy's humans, few in number but strong in spirit, were beginning to unite. The human realized something powerful. The Odyssey was more than a ship. It was a symbol. A reminder that humanity could survive, adapt, and thrive, even when the galaxy doubted them. But the alien inspectors were not far behind. They would not give up. The human had a head start, but he knew this. Escaping the auction hall was only the first challenge. Maintaining control of the Odyssey, activating its full systems, and proving humanity's worth would be far harder. He leaned back in the cockpit chair, taking a deep breath. He was ready. Humans were underestimated across the galaxy, yes, but that made their victories all the more meaningful. The Odyssey pulsed softly beneath him, as if acknowledging his resolve. Together, they would show the galaxy that human ingenuity could not be ignored. The stars stretched endlessly ahead as the Odyssey glided silently through the void. The human leaned back in the cockpit chair, hands lightly resting on the controls. Every system of the legendary ship hummed, awaiting his command. For decades, the Odyssey had waited, dormant but alive, and now it had a human to guide it. He began systematically exploring the ship's capabilities. Small displays lit up as he tapped sequences and accessed modules long forgotten. Shields responded instantly, adapting to simulated threats. Engines thrummed with quiet power, drawing energy from the nearest stars. Even the navigation systems were alive, plotting multiple escape routes, scanning for obstacles and calculating trajectories with astonishing speed. The AI spoke again, soft and human-like. "Operator detected. Full systems offline. Estimated activation at 50% capacity." The human nodded. "Let's see what you're really capable of." With careful steps, he brought the Odyssey fully online. Lights flickered across the hull, the ship vibrating gently as energy surged through its circuits. The AI interface projected a holographic map showing unexplored star systems, resource-rich planets, and hidden gravitational currents. It was a level of detail even advanced alien fleets could not match. He realized the true power of the Odyssey. Humans had always relied on creativity, intuition, and problem-solving. The Odyssey was built the same way, adaptive, unpredictable, and capable of finding solutions that no rigid algorithm could anticipate. A chime alerted him to nearby ships. Alien inspectors had followed through the portals, now blocking major escape routes. The human didn't panic. Instead, he smiled. This was exactly the moment to demonstrate human ingenuity. The Odyssey activated its non-violent defense protocols. Holographic duplicates projected outward, creating dozens of false images of the ship. Sensors emitted soft pulses that disrupted alien scanners, making it nearly impossible to track the real vessel. The inspector struggled to recalibrate, their frustration visible even through alien expressions. "Impressive," one inspector hissed over comms. "How? Is a human controlling it?" The human tapped a sequence, and the Odyssey adjusted its flight path, using hidden gravitational currents to slingshot past the inspector's fleet. They followed predictably, relying on calculations that assumed the ship would behave like other human vessels. But the Odyssey did not behave like other human vessels. It adapted, it improvised, it outsmarted them at every turn. From the cockpit, he could see the astonishment in the alien ships. They had never faced a human design quite like this. Every maneuver the Odyssey made was elegant, efficient, and entirely unexpected. The human laughed softly. "They think humans are predictable," he muttered. "They have no idea." He guided the Odyssey toward a cluster of nearby star systems, using hidden channels and energy currents invisible to alien technology. The ship accelerated far beyond its pursuers' expectations. Small gravitational pockets propelled it forward, slingshotting the vessel through space with breathtaking speed. The Odyssey's AI spoke again, almost proudly. "Operator, you are maximizing efficiency. Human ingenuity recognized." Shield and propulsion systems now operating at 83% capacity. The human leaned closer to the console. "Keep it going. Show them what humans can do." As they passed through a dense asteroid field, the inspectors attempted to cut off their path. Massive rocks floated in unpredictable patterns, but the Odyssey navigated them flawlessly. Sensors anticipated collisions before they occurred. The human adjusted course in real time, weaving through narrow gaps. Each movement was smooth, precise, and almost artistic. The alien inspectors, watching from afar, whispered among themselves. This is not possible," one said. "They are human. They shouldn't be capable of such coordination." The human smirked. Humans had survived against overwhelming odds countless times. They relied not just on technology, but on creativity, adaptability, and cooperation. Every challenge, every obstacle, every threat was an opportunity to think differently. And now, the Odyssey was the ultimate expression of that philosophy. They reached a calm sector of space, away from immediate threats. The human activated a long-range communications array, sending a message across nearby systems. "Humans are not primitive. The Odyssey has returned, alive and fully functional. We are resourceful, unpredictable, and resilient. Observe, learn, and respect our ingenuity." Within minutes, replies began to stream in from human colonies. Some offered supplies, others offered coordinates to hidden jump points. A network of humans, small but clever, was beginning to form, a reminder that humanity thrived on collaboration and problem-solving, even when vastly outnumbered. The AI spoke softly, almost reverently. "Operator, human networks detected. Collective ingenuity acknowledged. Probability of successful evasion increased to 97%. The human smiled, feeling a swell of pride. It was not brute force that kept humanity alive. It was intelligence, creativity, and courage. The Odyssey, in its quiet hum and elegant design, was proof of that truth. Suddenly, a distant energy signature appeared on the holographic map. A fleet of alien inspectors was regrouping, attempting to anticipate the Odyssey's next move. The human leaned forward. They think they can catch us, he said softly. Let's show them they're wrong. Using the Odyssey's AI-assisted navigation, he calculated a series of unpredictable maneuvers. The ship bent space subtly, using gravitational currents to slip around the alien fleet. Every movement was designed to confuse, mislead, and evade without harming a single ship. Alien sensors failed repeatedly, and frustration grew in the voices over comms. The human realized the full potential of what he controlled. Humans were often underestimated because their methods were unconventional. Yet here was proof. Intelligence, creativity, and courage could outmatch sheer numbers and rigid protocols. The Odyssey's AI spoke again. Operator, your decisions demonstrate unpredictability and strategic foresight. Human ingenuity confirmed. Respect levels from alien observers increasing. The human chuckled. Finally, they're starting to understand. He guided the ship to a nearby planet with a dense magnetic field, perfect for demonstrating the Odyssey's capabilities. The AI adjusted shields and propulsion to compensate for interference. The ship moved with precision, hovering just above the surface, creating a soft aurora of light that danced across the landscape. Alien observers watched in awe, recording every detail. "This is incredible," one inspector whispered. "They are human." "They are magnificent." The human activated a secondary system, adaptive energy channels that allowed the Odyssey to harvest power from nearby stars and the planet's magnetic field. Energy surged through the hull, fueling the ship beyond standard capacity. The alien fleet's jaws seemed to drop, unable to comprehend the elegance of human design. "This is what humans do," the human said softly. "We survive. We adapt. We create solutions when none exist. That is our strength." Messages from human colonies continued to arrive, offering aid, congratulating, and sharing resources. Word spread across the galaxy that the Odyssey was alive and under human command. Humans were beginning to regain the respect they had lost, not through violence, but through ingenuity, courage, and cooperation. The human reflected on the journey so far. He had discovered the legendary ship, activated it, evaded alien inspectors, and begun to show the galaxy what humans were truly capable of. Yet he knew the greatest challenges were still ahead. The inspectors would regroup, authorities would respond, and the Odyssey's full potential had not yet been tested. He leaned back, hands resting on the controls, eyes on the stars. "We've started something," he said. "The galaxy will remember. Humans are clever, adaptable, and unstoppable when we put our minds to it." The Odyssey pulsed softly beneath him, a living testament to human ingenuity. Together, they were unstoppable. Together, they would show the universe that humanity's greatest strength was its unpredictability, creativity, and indomitable spirit. The stars stretched endlessly before them, and the humans smiled. For the first time in decades, humanity had a symbol of hope, a ship that could inspire, protect, and remind the galaxy of the brilliance that humans carried within them. The Odyssey glided through the void, sleek and silent, carrying with it the weight of humanity's past and the hope of its future. The human sat in the cockpit, hands resting lightly on the controls, but every nerve alert. The galaxy had begun to notice. The legendary ship, once thought lost, was alive again, and under human command. Reports from alien observers flooded the networks. The Odyssey had outmaneuvered inspectors, evaded capture, and displayed powers no alien vessel could match. The humans' broadcasts of humanity's ingenuity, survival, and cooperation had begun to ripple through star systems. Suddenly, humans were no longer a species to be underestimated. They were unpredictable, resourceful, and brilliant. Yet with recognition came scrutiny. Alien authorities, long accustomed to underestimating humans, were assembling fleets to investigate, understand, and perhaps control the Odyssey. The human knew they would not stop easily, but he also knew something critical. The galaxy had underestimated humans for too long. That was their greatest advantage.
"Odyssey," he said, voice calm but firm.
"We've shown them what we can do. Now we make them understand why humans are worth respecting." The AI hummed softly. Operator, predictive models suggest that showcasing human adaptability and collaboration will maximize influence and safety. Proceed as desired. The human smiled. Then let's do it the human way. The first step was demonstration. The Odyssey moved through a nearby cluster of neutral colonies, each inhabited by species wary of humans. The ship's systems projected holographic displays showing the journey of human explorers across dangerous sectors, innovations that had saved countless lives, and energy-efficient systems that outperformed many alien designs. The display was subtle but clear. Humans were capable, intelligent, and innovates too temperate. Observers in the colonies murmured in astonishment. Many species had dismissed humans for centuries, assuming their technology was simple and their strategies predictable. The Odyssey challenged that assumption. Its smooth movements, adaptive systems, and non-violent problem-solving spoke louder than words. "This is remarkable," an alien diplomat whispered to a colleague. "They are human, and yet they surpass us in ingenuity." The human continued, guiding the Odyssey through systems previously considered impassable. Using old human navigation tricks combined with the ship's adaptive AI, they traversed asteroid fields, gravitational currents, and energy storms with perfect precision. Every movement was calculated, yet flexible, unpredictable. Messages from human colonies continued to arrive. Small ships, freighters, and explorers offered coordination and assistance. Humans, though few in number compared to galactic populations, were proving the power of unity and collaboration. The human reflected on the journey so far. They had escaped the auction hall, activated the Odyssey, outsmarted inspectors, and demonstrated the true potential of humanity. But the greatest challenge remained, convincing the galaxy that humans deserved recognition, respect, and a place among the stars as equals. Suddenly, an alert appeared on the Odyssey's console. A fleet of alien authorities, more organized and powerful than anything he had encountered, was approaching. They were not here to negotiate. They intended to seize the Odyssey and control it. The human leaned forward, calm and focused. "Odyssey, it's time. We show them humans are not to be controlled. They are to be respected." The Odyssey responded immediately. Shields expanded, adaptive fields activated, and the engines powered up for full maneuverability. But this was not a show of violence. Instead, the Odyssey created holographic projections of humans across history. Engineers, explorers, thinkers, and innovators. Each projection highlighted human problem-solving, ingenuity, and survival. The approaching fleet paused. Alien pilots and commanders watched in awe. Their sensors recorded every detail, and even their own analytics struggled to quantify what they were witnessing. Humans, they realized, were unpredictable, but in a way that was remarkable, creative, and intelligent. The human navigated the Odyssey closer to the fleet, moving deliberately to show control, confidence, and purpose. He spoke across interstellar channels in a calm, clear voice. "Authorities of the galaxy, humans are not primitive. We are resourceful, adaptable, and intelligent. We solve problems in ways you cannot anticipate. This ship, the Odyssey, is proof. It represents human ingenuity, cooperation, and courage. We ask not for conquest, but for respect. Recognize us as equals, and you will see what humans can achieve." Silence followed. The fleet's commanders communicated rapidly, trying to process what they had just witnessed. No human ship had ever demonstrated such precision, adaptability, and controlled power without resorting to destruction. Finally, one of the alien leaders spoke, a tall figure with translucent skin and glowing eyes. "We underestimated your species," it said slowly. "You are clever, resourceful, and remarkable. The Odyssey is proof of your ingenuity. We will not seize it. We acknowledge your strength." The human nodded, a smile forming. Respect had been earned, not through violence, but through intelligence, courage, and creativity. Word spread quickly. Across nearby sectors, humans began to receive acknowledgement from alien colonies, traders, and diplomats. The Odyssey became a symbol, A reminder that humans, though small in number, possessed qualities that could not be measured by numbers or firepower alone. The human guided the Odyssey to a safe orbit around a neutral planet, allowing observers to approach and inspect the ship without threat. Aliens studied its systems, carefully noting its energy-efficient engines, adaptive shields, and AI-assisted navigation. While they were curious, there was no threat. Humans had demonstrated that cooperation and ingenuity could achieve far more than force or intimidation. From the cockpit, the human felt a sense of accomplishment. The Odyssey had not only survived, it had inspired. Humans, long dismissed and underestimated, were now proving their value. The AI spoke softly, almost reverently. "Operator, humanity's potential has been recognized. Systems efficiency remains optimal. Cooperation and ingenuity confirmed. Respect for humans increasing across multiple species." The human leaned back, satisfied. "We've done more than survive," he said. "We've reminded the galaxy what humans are capable of." As days passed, humans across the galaxy began coordinating in new ways. Small colonies, once isolated and overlooked, shared resources, knowledge, and technology. The Odyssey traveled between them, acting as a symbol of ingenuity, collaboration, and resilience. Humanity, though still a minority, had earned its place in the stars. The human reflected on everything that had happened. A legendary ship, long thought destroyed, had become the key to restoring human respect across the galaxy. And yet, it had been more than a machine. It had been a reminder that humans' greatest strength was not technology alone, but the creativity, courage, and ingenuity behind it. The stars stretched endlessly around him, the galaxy vast and full of potential. The Odyssey pulsed softly beneath him, alive, ready for whatever challenges awaited. Humans had proven their worth, but more importantly, they had shown that intelligence, cooperation, and creativity could overcome fear, misunderstanding, and prejudice. The humans smiled. For the first time in decades, humanity had a symbol of hope, a proof of their brilliance. They were underestimated no longer. And somewhere in the galaxy, across countless systems, beings of many species whispered the same thought. Humans are unpredictable. Humans are brilliant. Humans cannot be ignored. The Odyssey hummed softly, as if agreeing. Humanity had survived, adapted, and inspired. Their legacy would continue, not through fear, but through ingenuity, courage, and the unyielding human spirit. Final HFY message. One human, guided by curiosity, intelligence, and courage, had revived a legendary ship and shown the galaxy the true strength of humanity. It was not weapons, power, or domination that made humans remarkable. It was their creativity, resilience, and ability to think differently. And now the universe would never underestimate humans again.